Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. This is Eddie with Real Talk and Fiction, and today another boring or exciting episode. So I'm going to jump into that in just a second. First thing, my life has been crazy, and I'm sure some of you guys, you guys can relate to this, but super exciting news for me. And I guess my little guy. So today I am actually celebrating his 9th birthday. And I'm also celebrating the release of my new book that I wrote with him, basically like his input. It's like our little project, Confusing Teleportation. And I am just super excited about this book. It was totally 100% from his imagination. And, as a dad, I'm just super excited that my little boy wanted to write a book, so to speak, with me. It just warmed my heart the night that he told me, Dad, basically, summing the conversation up as to hopefully not bore you guys, he told me that it was a dream of his to one day write a book with me and have it published. And so he also told me that he wanted this book of his to be released on his birthday today, April 17th. And all he really wanted besides that is a copy from me, signed. And this may not seem like much to you guys, and that's fine, but me, I can't even come up with the words, to me, taking his little, his dream, whether it was a little dream or a big dream of his, or if he was just saying this to make me feel good, but to take this idea and bring it to life was just amazing for me. So if you have little ones, if you got grandchildren, you might understand this, and if you're trying to get them to trying to get them to read or trying to encourage them to read, I really encourage each and every one of you guys to head on over to Amazon and for just $9.99, pick up a copy. That's the paperback version. If you want the hardback, it's going to be only $14.99. Pick yourself up a copy of Confusing Teleportation, and by Edward Bowers, and give it to your kid. This book is kind of along the lines of my son's favorite books, like Captain Underpants or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So it's that level. You're looking at like the reading range being about 8 years old to, I don't know, I'd say roughly 12. So, and don't worry, this is not some psychological horror. This is not some dark poetry like I normally write. This is going to be just this funny, wild, thrilling, exciting type of book. It's really intended for younger kids, younger readers, and I have also put in, 5, 6, 7 different life lessons that I hope younger readers can glean from. Or if you're reading this to an even younger kid, hopefully they can glean these lessons. But they are also explained in the book in the back. So anyway, that wasn't even really the whole point of today's episode. Okay? I'm just super excited about my little guy turning 9 and this book, this project that he and I did together. So now I'm going to get to the point, if you will, of today's episode. And if you know anything about me, if you've listened to other episodes, seen my YouTube, seen my social media, follow me on TikTok, you guys should have kind of a good idea of what I'm about. One of those things that I am really tied into is personal growth, self-love, becoming a better human being, kind of things like that. But I'm definitely no cute little girl in Lululemon stretchy pants, posting pictures of myself on social media just for likes, clicks, comments, reshares. Now, I do post pictures on Instagram, but if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. You repost, you get the picture. I am not an influencer. All right? So, today's episode is dealing versus hiding, the self-help illusion, or AKA, stop lying about your growth. Just stop. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. So, but let's jump in, okay? Let's get this straight. You're not growing if you're still blaming. You're not healing if you're still hiding. And if you're not working on yourself, if all you're doing is talking about it, posting about it, yeah, you're not working on yourself. This episode is really about the lie, the stage performance, if you will, of healing, that illusion of growth, and how easy it is to slap a self-help label on avoidance and convince yourself and your followers that you're doing the work. Spoiler alert, most people aren't doing the work. They're curating it, They're posting all about it, talking about it, monetizing it. But they're not living it. So let's get into it. I guess I would say they're basically saying growth is this new costume I can put on. We're in a weird place right now, y'all. Everybody wants to be seen as self-aware. Everybody wants to be evolved, spiritual, emotionally intelligent. But not everyone wants to earn those labels. So they fake it. They read the buzzwords, go to Google, check it out, memorize, the therapy language. They use phrases like holding space, emotional regulation. You've got to set boundaries. But they still ghost people, manipulate the situations, and never take accountability. Growth has truly become, this costume. And some people wear it so well, they even fool themselves. So I want to dive a little bit into the difference between growth and performance. So here's the difference. Growth means you're different when no one's watching. Now, not two-faced, but you're different. Performance means you only act healed when there's not an audience. Or I'm sorry, when there is an audience. You want to know if someone's really healed? Look at how they act when they're losing. When they're being criticized, when they're not in control, when their feelings get hurt and there's no social reward for being the bigger person. That's where real growth does start showing up. Or it doesn't. And I'm going to admit, through the things I've been through, I've relapsed, I've backslidden, I've tripped, I've stumbled, I've had my outlashes. But I pick myself up and I start working again. And no, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here. I'm just trying to be real I'm trying to be transparent, and I'm being honest. So again, this is where real growth, real healing starts showing up. Or it doesn't. Posting about your boundaries on, say, like Instagram doesn't mean you've got them. Quoting, I don't know, anybody doesn't mean crap. It doesn't mean, I don't know, let's say, it doesn't mean you're being vulnerable. Calling everything a trauma response doesn't mean you've done any actual healing. It literally means you're just memorizing memes, other people's quotes. You're stage acting. And this type of stuff got me wondering, one, about my own growth, about my own healing process. I started looking, holy cow, I'm starting to act the same. And then I'd be like, okay, well, this was a trigger. This tipped me over. This pushed me back. I allowed myself to stumble. And so I started correcting it again. But I started noticing a lot of people lie about this stuff. And I had to ask the question, why? Why is that? And here's something that I've thought of, I've looked into, I've done some research, why people lie about healing. Because real healing, true personal growth, true healing from trauma, it's ugly. 100% ugly. It is not some cute little 20-year-old or 30-year-old or MILF or cougar half naked on social media going, I'm healed. Look, I grabbed this crystal, rubbed it every day, and look at me, woohoo. No, it's ugly. And it's slow. And for someone who's impatient, yeah, slow is not good. It's not cute. And it's definitely, it's not like a label, a brand that you stick on your butt or your chest. It doesn't give you like instant validation or likes or sympathy. But pretending, oh yeah, faking it, pretending pays. Pretending gets applause. Pretending lets you feel in control while avoiding the parts of yourself you're still too scared to face. So, people lie. Not always on purpose. That I don't think that's their 100% intention. Sometimes they really believe that they're healed because they've built a whole personality around pretending to be. And I've witnessed this so many times. It's almost to the point where I'm sick of this trend. I'm not saying that healing should be a trend, or is a trend, but there is a trend for self-help. And I've noticed a lot of people out there are just lying about it. Just look at their actions. When you get to know them personally, look at their actions. So this might be considered a little bit of a wake-up call, okay? If your growth, quote unquote, requires everyone around you to, constantly adjust to you, if your boundaries are really just more emotional walls, if your healing gives you permission to avoid responsibility, you're not healing. Sorry. You're hiding. And worse, you're performing. And look, this isn't about Eddie trying to shame you or anything like that, okay? The one thing about me is I do my best to speak truth. So this episode, this is really about truth. Because if you can't tell yourself the truth, healing ain't even possible. You're stuck. You're on that hamster wheel, spinning and spinning. So you've got to stop asking, how can I look more evolved? And start asking, where am I still full of shit? That's what I've been doing to myself. And it's not bad, it's not negative. I needed to see where I personally, before I spoke another word about healing and growth, I needed to ask myself, was I full of shit? Where was I being full of shit? And that, it sucked. But that's where the real work starts. Okay. I mean, just my opinion, but I also think that a lot of therapists, life coaches, counselors, they would agree. I know mine did. So here's just a few final, well, maybe pre-final words, because I might have a little surprise at the end here. But self-help, it's not bad. Growth isn't fake. But pretending to heal is like taking Tylenol for a bullet wound. Not very helpful. Eventually, the pain breaks through the performance, and then your whole little social media world crumbles, and you're right back where you started pre-lie. You also built up some other issues between you and your followers and or friends and family. Just saying. So here's the challenge. Stop lying about where you're at. Stop acting like you've arrived when you haven't even started walking. Stop weaponizing your growth so you never have to be wrong. You don't owe the world a perfect version of yourself, but you do owe yourself the truth. And real healing, y'all, it starts there. Being truthful. So, I did say that I might have a little quote-unquote surprise, so final words, I guess, if we're going to label it as anything. But while I was going through this over the past whatevers, days, weeks, months, years, it doesn't matter the time frame, it was happening, and it's different for everybody. But I started getting some words, and as y'all know, I'm an author, kind of a poet, if you will. No, I don't know. That sounds weird. I'm still working on some of these labels, but I do write poetry. So what I want to do today is kind of give you guys a little bit of my poetry. And it really has to do with this topic. So, again, let's dive into this. This particular poem is titled, "This is Not a Butterfly Story." Now, I'm no voice actor, okay? If you want to hear a kind of a voice actor reading this, there's this guy on YouTube that I'm working with. His YouTube channel is I just forgot it. The Umbra Hour. And this guy's voice, he's an actor. He's a voice actor. He does a great job reading this poem. But I'm going to read it because it's my poem. So, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So, here it is. This is not a butterfly story. Don't tell me healing is beautiful. Don't paint it pastel and post it with captions about morning tea and gratitude. This isn't a butterfly story. It's not delicate wings and time-lapse magic. It's not light breaking through leaves as you float into the next season. No. It's a snake dragging itself over stone, vision blurred, body aching, ripping its own skin off just to survive the stretch of becoming something else. That's growth. Not curated, not filtered, not pretty. Real growth doesn't get pinned on vision boards. It doesn't match your aesthetic. It doesn't trend well on Instagram. It's dark. It's violent. It's private. It's screaming in a locked room because something inside you is dying, so something else can live. You want to talk about healing? Let's talk about the raw flesh underneath the skin you outgrew. Let's talk about the silence between the breakdown and the breakthrough. Let's talk about losing people who only loved the version of you that stayed small, quiet, and easy to manage. You judged me because my healing wasn't elegant, because I didn't pose with crystals or quote Rumi in my captions. You called me chaotic, angry, lost. But I was shedding. You saw ugliness. I saw rebirth. So keep your butterflies, your tidy metaphors, your aesthetically pleasing trauma. I'll be the snake. I'll tear through everything that no longer fits until I can breathe again. Even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. Now, that's just my interpretation of the way this world has gone when it comes to this self-love and healing niche. Tell me what you guys think about anything I've said today. That poem, if you've read any of my poetry, let's keep that conversation going, or let's start that conversation. Don't forget, if anything I said resonates with you in this podcast, or if you catch this on YouTube, because I'm over there too, like it, share it. Especially if you think there's somebody out there that needs to hear this message, get it in front of them. But go ahead, subscribe, like, follow, however you want to word it. Don't miss another episode. And anywhere you can find a place to comment, whether you agree or disagree with me. I'm not looking for zombies to follow me just because, hey, I'm here. If it resonated, if it means something or meant something to you, or you got something out of it to better yourself, follow me, comment, start the conversation with me. I'm always here in some form or fashion, and always willing to talk, learn, grow myself. Y'all might have a different perspective based off of what I've just said, and maybe there's something I could glean from you guys too, and better myself even more. Because this is so cliche. The only person I am in competition with is myself yesterday. Today, I gotta do better than yesterday. And I hope and I pray that if you're listening to this, you're on that same page. Just do better than yourself from the day before. But anyway, like I said, like, subscribe, follow, and start the conversation. But that's it for today's episode. And hopefully I'll get another one out here in about a week for you guys. So y'all have a great one. Keep crushing it.